Afternoon, fellas. Been an interesting week, Claude. Have you been watching from the sidelines? Have you panicked like others have during the week?
I mean, I didn't really panic because I was sort of fortunate. I think I mentioned on the last show I was selling down a lot of my portfolio a little while just before the panic, like just before the big bank stuff started, really. So I'm looking to deploy capital actually, and I'm definitely intending on buying at least one stock next week.
Right.
But that's more just as a purely lucky timing for me. I wanted to realign my portfolio purely with my official recommendations. So sold everything that wasn't an official recommendation except Pro Medicus.
Right.
Or almost everything. I've still got some to go, actually.
Yeah. Always except Pro Medicus. Luke, you can pick that from Claude, can't you? Even though he's picked it right all the way up. Have you thought about this week, Luke?
Yeah, it's interesting, Koshi. A lot of people are sort of saying is there potential for some contagion amongst the financial sector, amongst the banks in particular, obviously Silicon Valley Bank and some crypto-focused banks over in the US, and then Credit Suisse a couple of nights ago, although it looks like, again, the central banks have stepped in and sort of stabilised things. I haven't panicked yet. Gaurav Sodhi, who comes on the program, who I respect very highly, he has a saying where he says, if you're going to panic early. So I don't begrudge people who, if you've got the thoughts that this could be something more, the sort of uncertainty you're seeing in the market makes sense. But as I said to someone the other day, I look at what happened in the US. It felt very specific circumstances to those banks. They put themselves in in a tough situation. And Credit Suisse, look, I'd made the point to someone, a stiff breeze could knock over Credit Suisse. Every 12 months we hear problems with that bank. So I don't suspect that's a massive contagion that will worry the global financial system again. Yeah. But as always, it's worthwhile paying attention to it.
Yeah, and you're quite right. Credit Suisse is just a horribly run bank. It's not as if they invested in dodgy mortgages or government bonds have got it wrong like Silicon Valley Bank has done. It's just a cot case, and their biggest shareholder came out and said, we're not going to put any more money in. I suppose the executives of Credit Suisse Bank were saying, gee, thanks for that in this environment. Yeah. Beauty, you've hung us out to dry. All right, let's get into the stocks that you want us to take a look at. First half hour, Pure Profile, MMA Offshore, XRF Scientific, Calix, and BBX Minerals. Stock of the day, always understanding that when we talk to Luke and Claude, they look at the more micro end of the market, small cap end of the market. So I thought stock of the day, have a look at Close the Loop, which hasn't really come up here on the call at all. It made a US acquisition, says it will be immediately earnings accretive. It will pay up to $66 million US for ISP Trek services, which will also see ISP Trek founders become substantial holders and Close the Loop here. It's a US electronics refurbisher and trading platform, which Close the Loop says will give it considerable presence in the US. It's expected to be 100% earnings per share accretive immediately post-acquisition. Close the Loop up almost 9% today on this. Close the Loop is a listed recycler. Luke, what do you reckon of Close the Loop and also the announcement today?
Yeah, we'll start with the business, Koshi. It's come up once or twice for me on the call, and I've sort of said it came to the market a couple of years ago as a roll-up of a bunch of smaller businesses packaged together into an IPO. And in general, I'm usually pretty skeptical of businesses that come to the market like that. So the advice I sort of said back then was, let's just give it a few reports, see how it reports, see how, the consolidation of those businesses, can they extract the synergies and all the things you want to see. Now, as Claude and I were just discussing before we jumped on, the actual numbers look pretty good. I mean, profitable business, generating cash flow, exactly what you want to see. So from that point of view, I give the business a tick, and it looks quite interesting and certainly worth some further work.